Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Mickey's Earbuds, and I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
And it's good to be back with you. We have a really fun one today where we're talking about, well, actually, I'm not going to spoil it yet. That's why they're here to listen.
Yeah.
But Justin, you have something for us right now.
Yes, absolutely. So we got a new game we're going to try out here. And for this game, not only will you, the listener, be our guinea pigs, but also David is going to be the prime guinea pig here as we test this one out.
This is usually your role in our friendship.
Yeah, yes, it is. So it's quite fun to be on the other side of this coin. So today we're going to be doing a Disney themed 20 questions. Now, this could be something where the person has to guess in 20 yes or no questions. In 20 yes or no questions, needs to guess either what Disney thing I'm thinking of or where I'm thinking of, perhaps at like Disney World or something like that, or who I'm thinking of. So it's a who, a what, or a where. So with that, this one is going to be what in the world, and the world in this case being Disney World. So I'll give you that first hint there that we are going for something that you can find at Disney World. So go ahead, David.
Is this in a kingdom?
This is not in a kingdom. Good
All right,
question. Good lead-off
eliminates
question.
2 parks right off the bat. Hollywood Studios or Epcot? What could it be? I don't want to leave too much of me thinking. Is this a place that you can get food at?
This is a place you can get food at.
All right, that eliminates rides. That eliminates character meet and greets only. Is this at a resort?
Oh, see, I didn't think when you were on the park track, I thought you were going to stay on the parks, but you didn't. This is at a resort.
Okay, so you get food, it's at a resort. I guess next time I'll just have to ask, is that at a park?
Well, to give you a little bit of a clarifier here, when you said, is this a place you can get food, I was thinking of, well, this isn't a park, this is a resort. So yes, you can get food at resorts. So I'm not looking at a restaurant within the resort necessarily. I could be, but I'm just simply saying that you can get food at resorts. Yes. So
all right, so this is a resort. This is a tough one because there's a few hiccups there. Is it a resort currently hosting a sports ball team?
Well, I'm not completely familiar with which resorts are hosting sports ball teams right now.
All right, so this question doesn't count against me.
No. This is an I don't know does not count against you.
Because, like the Grand Floridian is hosting, and
this is all news to me. I wouldn't know who's hosting who.
They're hosting some of the NBA right now. Let's see. And I believe the Coronado is hosting, I think, the MLS. At least I thought they were. Would you find characters at this resort?
Let me think. Yes, you
like
would.
Like Chip
find.
and Dale, or like like that.
Yeah, like Disney characters, not like people who are characters, but yeah, Disney characters. Yes, you could find Disney characters at this resort.
Is it a Magic Kingdom area resort?
It is a Magic Kingdom area resort.
How many questions have I used up?
By my count, 5. I could be off by 1. You might be at 6. I'm not sure, but I'm saying you're at 5.
All right. So it's a Magic Kingdom area resort. It has characters. So that eliminates... I'm pretty sure that it eliminates... Oh, no. Wilderness Lodge. Do they have Chip and Dale at Wilderness Lodge still? I'm not sure that they have them there. So... Is this an original resort?
As in one of the ones that opened with Walt Disney World?
Yes.
No, this is not an original resort.
All right, so that leaves the Wilderness Lodge. That's it.
Also, the Grand Floridian is a Magic Kingdom resort that did not originate with Disney World.
I thought that one. I thought they were working that one out.
Nope, it didn't open until the 1980s.
Really? Huh. I thought that one was because it's a flagship. I thought it was earlier. Okay, so that means, well, that would eliminate both. You could have let me be wrong, by the way. That would eliminate both the
I'm a nice guy.
I'm nice guy. That eliminates both the Polynesian and the contemporary. Then, so
It
characters.
also eliminates Fort Wilderness Campground.
Okay. So eliminates those again. You didn't need to tell me that.
I'm it's a first time. I'm being a nice guy.
Can I buy swag at this location?
Are you asking at the resort or at the specific location?
At the specific location.
I was going to say, because you can buy swag at any resort. No, you cannot buy swag at this specific location.
And by swag, I mean like, shirts and stuff and pins and so on and so forth.
Correct.
Is this something you could do with your family?
Well, this is more of a thing, a thing. So, I mean, I guess you could do
if it's
this.
More of like a thing as opposed to an act. It's a thing. So you're assuming it as a thing as opposed to an activity.
Yeah. I guess I kind of gave you that one. So.
Okay. It's a thing as in like, oh, I observed this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this thing have water involved with it?
There is no water involved with this.
So it eliminates the Wilderness Lodge geyser pool setup.
Yep.
And it also eliminates the boats at all the boats, pretty much. At all the boats.
It eliminates all the boats, yes.
Would Walt love this thing?
Well, that's a matter of opinion, but I'm gonna go on the edge of yes.
All right, so given how you said yes, I don't think it's the train stuff at the Wilderness Lodge. Or the Well,
you've got 10 questions left.
I'm not getting anywhere closer because it's harder to eliminate because it's a very specific thing.
Yeah.
I have its location. It's at one of two. And so the best way to do that one is to eliminate one of those two locations. And I haven't asked a good question to eliminate one of those two locations yet. I've just eliminated what it isn't.
Pretty much.
At those locations independently. Does this place have a monorail running through it?
We're at Wilderness Lodge.
Huh?
Because we're at Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah, I never figured that out, but thank you.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so it is Wilderness Lodge.
Well, anyway, that was kind of an answer to that question anyway, because if I had said no, you would have figured out your Wilderness Lodge.
Right now, I feel like sometimes you must feel like Genie when Aladdin gets a free wish out of him.
Yes, occasionally I do feel that way. All right, you bad boy, but no more freebies.
So it's at Wilderness Lodge. It is not the train area. It is not it's not the gift store or in the gift store. It's a thing. It's not a. Is this thing a representative or part of Native American culture?
I guess you could say yes.
See, that's hard because, for instance, they have the headdress. That's a very specific thing.
Yeah, but it's so. I mean, in a sense, yes, but it would also, I guess you could expand it saying it's actually a part of multiple cultures, really. So can't just necessarily narrow it down to Native Americans.
All right, so it is not explicitly a Native American thing. All right. Does this thing convey anything to you and to me if we were there?
Like
Like it could be water, it could be heat, it could be light.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yes, it does.
All right, so it could be the fireplace, it could be like the lighting. It's not water. Is it the fireplace in the Wilderness Lodge?
It is the fireplace in the Wilderness Lodge. You
Wow, and I
got
did
it.
that with only about 6 freebies and 4 questions left.
Yeah, something like that. Actually, yeah. We go 6 questions left, but yeah. I don't
Wow,
know.
that was pretty good.
I need next time I need to have like a piece of paper and start marking tallies on it or something like that. Because that was a little rough on my end.
Well, that was a good one. That was that it took some thanking.
Thank you. Not thanking. It's not Thanksgiving yet.
Depends on where you're from and how you say thanks or thank. Well, I think that was pretty fun. We'll have to do that again. But let's move into our topic. So we're living in the age of the coronavirus, as just not are very not don't really want to go to a negative place, but this is just the reality we're in. But what's different now is the theme parks have opened, and they have limited reservation, and people can get in. And Justin, you actually somehow managed to land 2 reservations very recently. Just and I were together. We were hanging out for about a week on and off, and during that week, he and his family went to Disney and had a pretty good time. He and I talked about it, but we wanted to share that with you. So, Justin, why don't I give you the floor here?
Okay. All right. So we were able to because right now, in order to get into the parks, not only do you need to have a ticket or a annual pass or something like that, not only do you need to have paid for admission, you need to have also pre-reserved a spot in the park, essentially. So going through the My Disney Experience app or My Disney Experience on their website, you need to, with your already paid for admission, reserve a spot in the park. You're not going to be walking up to the gate, buying tickets and going in. You're going to have to do that all online. And as I recall, they were giving preference to, first they were opening up park reservations to people who were staying on Disney property. Then they opened it up to pass holders in general, and then finally people who had already purchased tickets. So we fell into the second group. We did not have a reservation on the property, but we do have annual passes. So we were able to book us a day at the Magic Kingdom on a Monday and then a day at Epcot on a Friday.
That is pretty fantastic that you got in there.
Yeah, I don't remember what the percentage is of capacity that they're allowing in right now, but it's definitely pretty low. And I would say also that the hardest park to get into right now is Hollywood Studios. One, because the park does not have as high a capacity as the other parks do. And the other is that because of the recent opening of Galaxy's Edge, it's extremely popular. So we didn't, but because my wife is pregnant and most of the attractions at Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom are really not good for pregnant women to ride, we chose to go with the 2 tamer theme parks, or the 2 really not tame as much as they have a whole lot more that my wife could experience with me. So
what kept you from laying on the ground when you were in the parks? Because there's like nobody there.
Not much, except for who really wants to lay on the ground at a theme park. As clean as they keep it, I'm not sure I've ever really tried to do that. We did sit down a few times, but particularly at Epcot. But yeah, there's really not much there. I mean, there was very sparsely populated. There was only a couple of places where we kind of felt that, there's actually a reasonable amount of people occupying this particular space, particularly when it rained. There was, how things go in Florida, particularly in the summer afternoon. Storm crops up seemingly out of nowhere, and there's a torrential downpour. Well, Disney may have figured a lot of things out in keeping what they call physical distancing. They don't use social distancing because, let's face it, if you're going to the theme parks and you're bringing people with you, you're probably not social distancing. You are physically distancing from other parties. So they use the term physical distancing, and when it rains like that, they don't have anything in place for all the people who did not bring raincoats or ponchos and are rushing under the nearest canopy to stand and wait out the storm. So we did encounter one situation there where we did have ponchos, but we were kind of stuck in a little bit of a bottleneck there until we could get our ponchos on and then head somewhere elsewhere in the park.
Wow. Ponchos. Do they even let you bring those on all the rides anymore?
I don't think so. Actually, what they do is, you need to remove your poncho before you actually go and get on a ride. So even if you're holding it bunched up in your hand or something, but, the point is it has to be stowed wherever you're going to stow, say, your backpack or your hat or something like that. Point is you can't be wearing it.
So you went to both the Magic Kingdom and you went to Epcot. Which one of those felt emptier?
I actually had not thought about that, but I would have to say Epcot felt emptier, mainly just by virtue of there's a whole lot of ground there.
Yeah.
So I would say that one felt emptier, but I would say really realistically, the percent capacity that it was filled to was probably quite comparable. But
now, do you know off the top of your head what's the capacity they're filling to at the moment?
I do not know. I hadn't researched that. I heard something like 20% or 25%, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I heard something about the 20% as well. I know that they're doing everything they can mitigate it. Now, let's talk about something that's a little direct. You went while their mask order is on right now.
Right. So basically,
go ahead. I was basically, yeah.
We're going to have to edit this part out.
That's fine. What I'm asking, so you went with the mask order on. My question is for you, how was that? What did it look like? Let's say, were people obeying it, in your opinion?
Okay. First thing, just for clarification, the current mask order upon the recording of this podcast and our trip is that if you are on Disney property anywhere on Walt Disney World property outside of your own personal hotel room or resort room or personal vehicle, you need to be wearing a mask. That is the current policy. The only exception to that rule is if in the theme parks, maybe at the resorts, I'm not sure, but definitely at the theme parks, they have a few areas marked off as quote unquote rest areas, where you can go in, sit down, remove your mask, and just breathe freely. And then the other exception is if you are actively eating something or drinking something, you are stationary, and you're at least 6 feet away from the next party. Those are the only exceptions to the mask rule. So yeah, if you're outside anywhere on Disney grounds, if you're outside your hotel room and in the lobby, it doesn't matter. If you're walking through the parking lot from your car to the gate, you need to be wearing a mask. That is the current policy. To answer your question about people disobeying the mask order, I didn't notice anybody particularly disobeying the mask order. Maybe one per day or something like that. One instance, and kind of brief, really. Nothing to write home about or to throw a fit over, but for the most part, it seems like everybody knew what they were walking into there and didn't seem to be causing any problems or headaches for anybody by not wearing a mask.
Now, okay, so people were obeying the rules that Disney set up, and I know that some people are the whole mask thing. I understand people are very comfortable or not so comfortable, but how did it make you feel seeing all these people masked up? Was that something that was made you feel comfortable, not because of the mask, but because Disney was proactive about it, or did it just make you didn't have any feelings about it?
Okay, well, my opinion on the whole thing is that I really think under the current circumstances, and I think Disney made probably the wise choice in their mask order. I'm not personally particularly fond of wearing masks. I really don't know too many people who are fond of wearing it. Certainly there are people out there, it's like, I don't want to get sick, so I'm wearing a mask.
That's
There are other
understandable.
yeah, there
Yeah.
are other people who, or I don't want to make somebody else sick, so I'm wearing a mask. There are
Yeah.
other people who are like, I don't know if I really believe this mask thing, but because this business says I need to wear it, or this state government says I need to wear it, I'm going to wear it. And I think that's where you'll find probably a large part of the population falls in that bracket, and I certainly fall in that bracket. So I think
Yeah.
Disney made a wise choice under the current circumstances. I think it's important that people feel safe when they go to Disney World, and I think that's what
Yeah.
they were shooting for when they came up with that. And also, particularly at that time, Florida was just coming off of a considerable spike in their case numbers.
That's true.
So there was that to deal with as well. Now, in terms of enjoyment and how it affected that, what I describe because of the masks. I'd say the masks are the primary thing that truthfully detract from the experience of going to Disney World, both visually and in terms of just personal comfort. I mean, walking around with a mask on your face all day, especially under the hot summer sun, gets a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable after, well, really after like the first hour, it gets a little uncomfortable. It gets a little, I guess, I don't really know what the word is. I don't know. Depressing might be too strong of a word for it, but you kind of like to just see people's faces, you know?
Yeah.
And particularly cast members, because there's a whole lot of facial expression going on behind people's masks that you can't see. I almost took a picture of everybody with the face masks on and sent it to you and said, "Count the smiles," because you can't. You know?
Yeah.
There's none there to be seen. But I'd say that was visually a little annoying. I guess annoying probably be the best word for it. Visually annoying. Comfort wise, also annoying. So I'd say the masks are the number one, not even a contest, detractor to the experience. Now that said, I didn't really have a problem with the physical distancing protocols. I mean, who really wants to be crowded in all the time anyway, or feel crowded in all the time anyway? So I really didn't mind that part as much. But with the mask policy in place, that basically took my Disney experience to a level of what I've described as fine. It
Okay.
wasn't spectacular. It wasn't wonderful. It wasn't, also on the flip side of the coin, it wasn't depressing. It wasn't horrific or horrendous or anything like that. It was just middle of the road. It was fine because of the detractor that the face masks do. But again, as I said, I think it was the wise choice under the circumstances. Doesn't mean I like it. Doesn't mean that most of the people there liked it. I don't think anybody likes it, but the wise decision was made under the circumstances.
Yeah. I think it would be fair to say that wearing a mask physically is not always so comfortable in the heat.
Right.
It might make you feel mentally comfortable, which I understand because there's a legitimate reasons to be afraid of getting sick. I get that.
Yes.
But the heat, it is very hard to wear in 90 plus degree heat for more than. I was walking to the supermarket today, and walking just from my car to the supermarket, it was very warm
Yeah.
with a mask on. I usually don't do that, but it was just easier because of my family situation right now to wear the mask before we got into the store as opposed to try to get it on right before we go in, because my area has a mask mandate. So if just from that alone, I can understand it being. I don't want to say it didn't. It doesn't. It didn't. It certainly didn't add anything. It sounds like to your experience.
Right. Yeah. And now the other thing too is while we were there, it was hot, but it was actually uncharacteristically dry for Florida heat. while we were there. I mean, there was definitely some humidity, but there wasn't a ton of, it wasn't like a spirit crushing humidity in the midst of the heat either. So it was actually, in terms of the heat, which is to be expected in Florida this time of year, it was actually on the comfortable side, even though it was around 90 degrees or something.
Are you saying you couldn't like breathe in a cup of water?
No, I definitely couldn't breathe in a couple of water or cup of water, and my neither did my throat dry out either. So, um, with or without the water I was taking in over the course of the day, but yeah, it wasn't terrible weather for it either.
No, when you were down, it was actually quite a very lovely week, even with the hurricane mist that was coming through as well. So if that gives you an idea of when this was recorded, everybody, this event happened in late July when Justin was down, and we were recording in early August.
So
yeah.
Isaias had made its way through after this trip.
Was that what they were calling it? I kept calling it Isaias.
Yeah, I know it's spelled like Isaias, but they were pronouncing it Isaias.
I literally had heard it pronounced Isaias even on a few places, so who knows? I don't. It looks like it's supposed to be derived from Isaiah. Anyway, but yeah, that's something. So it skipped us totally. I think actually you're getting more rain now than you were if you had stayed down here.
Yeah, well, yeah, not now, but yeah, the Isaias moved in yesterday for us, and yeah, it dropped quite a bit of rain on us.
But I know a lot of the countries actually needed some rain, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No. No.
All right, so that was good.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, there is a lot significantly less shade in Epcot than there is in the Magic Kingdom. Yes. So you're exposed to the sun a lot more in Epcot. How was the mask wearing in Epcot as opposed to the Magic Kingdom?
Well, I got to say it was a little bit more annoying, partially because of the heat, but the other reason was we were there and they had some of their food and wine booths open, and
we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, but because of that, we're making our way around sampling different foods, so it's like mask on, mask off, mask on, mask off, mask on, mask off as we're making our way around the World Showcase. So that was a little interesting too.
So it was just inconvenient. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
All right. Well, let's actually move into off of the COVID-19. I've heard about it to death. I'm sure you've heard enough that you are good for 10 lifetimes as well. So let's actually talk.
Before we do that, I just kind of want to give in summation what it was basically like, what my takeaway was, and our listeners can of course decide for themselves.
Yeah.
But I would think long and hard if you're a first timer and thinking, well, because of low crowds, there's very short lines. And while that is true, there's a number of things that just aren't open that normally would be open. And of course, there's the face mask policy to consider as well. So I think long and hard if you're a first timer or you're planning on bringing first timers to Disney World, whether or not this is an appropriate time for that. I would also think long and hard about whether it's worth the price tag as well if you're going to buy a single day ticket, especially. Now, if you're a pass holder or a Disney Vacation Club member or a Florida resident and you're a seasoned Disney traveler, I'd say, by all means, go for it. Because for me, being a seasoned Disney traveler, Disney Vacation Club member, annual pass holder, etc., is that I liken it to this. In the case of the pandemic and everything, I liken it to visiting with friends in that there's a whole lot different about visiting friends now than as in the past before the pandemic. There's a lot of things we don't like, but it's still really nice to see our friends. And for us, it felt kind of the same way. Visiting Disney World is like visiting an old friend. So was it different? Yes. Did we like the changes? By and large, no. But it's still nice to see our old friend Disney World. So that's kind of how that went.
I think that's a very fair assessment. It is unfortunate, the situation. I don't think you and I are ever going to be the people to say don't go. I think you
No.
and I would always be the people to say, if you're going to go, realize that this is a very expensive endeavor.
Yes.
And this may not be the best time for you to spend a lot of money if you're looking to have the most optimal time to go.
Yeah.
But that being said, you go and do as you'd like.
Yeah. There's so much good about Disney World. If there wasn't, we wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's so much good there, and we really want you all to just enjoy Disney as much as we do.
Oh yeah.
And so we might say, think about it, plan it out, and really give thought to certain things. And like Dave said, it is an expensive endeavor, but it doesn't mean we don't want you to experience it. We most definitely do want you to experience it, but we also want you to experience it to the fullest if you choose to.
And to be honest, if you're a person who is afraid, also to the safest.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that there is no wrong decision. It's just what's right or wrong for you. And I'm not the kind of guy who thinks that, like that usually, but I think that it's good to make a call.
Yep.
Right now, for instance, Justin and I have a different opinion here. I am not going to go until the mask order is up. Justin wanted to go, but he and I had no issue about that. This is just
Yeah.
this is how we are. This is fine. In fact, it's good that he went because it allows us to talk about it. But at the same time, I don't think you don't have any disappointment or any feeling towards me for not wanting to go right now.
Absolutely not. I think everybody has the right to make their own choices in this situation.
Yeah. And again, this is unusual, and this will not last. So, but that's pretty good. Now let's move away from the difficulties of COVID-19 because I'm pretty sure everyone's had enough of it.
Right.
And let's talk about something that you and I love to talk about.
Uh-oh.
Which is food.
I knew you were going to go there. And we didn't script this, just so you know. I literally didn't know he was going to go there, or I did figure he was going to go there based on what he was saying.
Yeah. Well, to pull the curtain back, some of these Justin and I have a plan out. We actually usually have a plan for most of them. And some of them are a little bit more fly by the seat of our pants.
Shooting from the hip
to be a little bit less, to not talk about pants. But speaking of flying by the seat of our pants, you probably had to adjust your belt because you went to the Food and Wine Festival right now.
Gosh, you have no idea. I literally gained 5 pounds over the course of the vacation.
Well, I helped a little bit with that.
Yes, you did. Well, to be fair, I think you helped. I think your lovely wife also helped. I mean, that chicken wing dip is excellent. But anyway, we're going to something else now. So what do you want to talk about in the food department?
My wife, being from Buffalo, knows how to make a mean buffalo chicken wing dip. So, some things are just in the blood. So let's do top 5 dishes that you had with, and because we're these kind of guys, you can get 2 honorable mentions. How's that?
Oh, gosh, I don't know if I even tried that many, but I mean, we'll certainly look at what I tried.
All right. Well, if you only managed to get 5 in, which ones, what locations, and what was the best for the taste, and also what was the best for your pocketbook?
Both excellent questions. All right.
And did you get any vegan dishes? Everyone wants to know.
Definitely not. I did not get any vegan dishes. I mean, I'm not that I'm opposed to trying vegan dishes. It's just that what I saw didn't appeal to me.
I tried to get him to have the vegan tripe or the vegan haggis, but it tastes like stuff. I don't know how you can make something that artificially tastes like intestine.
Well, oh man. I'm kind of scrolling through all the things we tried just so I can have a little reference here on what was done and what was not done. But interesting you should mention that because the very first booth we came to at the Epcot Food and Wine Festival was Earth Eats. So this is basically like, Impossible everything, and like Impossible as in the trademark.
Yeah, the
And
Impossible
yeah,
meat replacement.
right, yeah, that stuff. And yeah, it was basically a vegan's paradise. We did skip that one. But the first one we came to is we started on the Mexico side, and I'm trying to remember what it was that I actually pulled up, but it was, I seem to have missed taking a picture of the booth that we got it from, but it was an empanada. It wasn't from the Mexico Pavilion. We got something else there, but it was an empanada, a pork empanada, and that was pretty good. It was definitely a good way to start our introduction to the Food and Wine Festival. But the one we definitely tried that I really loved the flavor of, Mexico. The Mexico booth has a ribeye taco.
Ooh.
And that's a ribeye steak, ground up, of course, with ranchera salsa and a corn tortilla topped with onions, chives, and a lime wedge. What they fail to mention there is the cilantro. Now, cilantro, I know it's one of those things where you either love it or you hate it. I happen to love it.
Yeah,
So between the squeeze of lime and the cilantro, the onions, the chives, really the whole package, it was absolutely out of this world delicious.
Well, some people just like their steak to taste a little bit like cleaning products, you know?
It tasted nothing like cleaning products from my point of view.
I like cilantro too. So, but some people who would disagree would be like, "Ugh, it tastes like I'm cleaning my bathroom or something."
Yeah, no, it was actually, yeah, it was really, really good, and we did enjoy it. We were disappointed, not gonna lie, we were disappointed on the portion size based on the price we paid, but it was still very, very delicious. So I don't remember how many things we actually had, but it would have been, we had at least 5, so it was in my top 5.
So you and I ate steaks together gloriously as our tradition.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And our tradition for when was 2005?
Something like that.
2006?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so as Justin and I, we have a glorious tradition of eating at least one steak together, no matter what. And so that was the second ribeye you had. How was that in comparison?
Well, obviously the full-on steak is going to be the steak taco, but the steak taco was still very nice.
Now, yeah, they don't? I'm not looking at the menu. It sounds like you have it pulled up. They don't advertise that there's cilantro on the menu that you see.
No, it doesn't advertise it, but it is there.
That some people are really sensitive to that, but
well, I would add it was on the side.
Okay, then that's good enough.
Yeah. So is the lemon wedge on the side. So yeah, if you didn't want them on there, that's fine. The green onion, and the seasoned ground ribeye were the only thing that were actually mixed together on the tortilla.
Ooh, it sounds like. Now, do you recall the price structure for that?
That was roughly $7 for that relatively small sample.
And your only critique is that $7 was a lot of money for you would have liked a little bit more.
Yes, that's it.
So the quality was where you want it to be.
Yes, absolutely.
That's always the debate. When it comes to food, do you want the quantity or the quality?
Yeah, and it definitely hit 5 stars on the quality. It just hit like 2 stars on the quantity.
Yeah, so. My experience with and this is your second time going to the Food and Wine Festival, right?
Yeah, actually, it's my third, but really, it's my only
together.
Yeah, and I went once before that, but I didn't make a full experience out of it, like when you and I went.
Yeah, and so We could say you've been fully 2.5 times. Let's put it. How's that? Is that fair enough?
Yes.
So would you, if they had that next year, but the portion didn't change, because generally they kind of stay the same, would you get it next year if you went again next year?
I would at least consider it.
Yeah. That was now it was your family. You took some family with you. Some of them it was their first time. How did your family perceive the Food and Wine Festival, real quick, before we get back to your other top five?
Oh, okay. Well, it was pretty much just my wife, and yeah, she, yeah, I mean, it's not like the Food and Wine Festival normally is. It wasn't quite as robust as we're used to seeing it being. Not all of the booths were open, but I would say most of the booths were open. But yeah, she enjoyed her experience in trying the different foods as we made our way around the World Showcase. Some definitely more than others, but yeah, it was a neat experience.
And you didn't get anything at the Impossible Burgers, the Impossible Station?
No, no, we didn't get anything there.
Our future vegan listeners are going to be like, when are they going to look after our needs here?
Now the nice thing is, as you go around there, there's usually a vegetarian and or vegan option at a good number of these booths. So
Yeah. I actually
there's
like that
something
they
there.
demarcate, that this is a vegetarian or a vegan option.
Yes,
Because,
they make sure you know that it's there.
yeah, and I think, do they do that? I can't remember. I thought they were doing it for gluten-free as well. Um,
Uh, they might be doing that at least on their dinner menus. Yes, they are doing that as well at the Food and Wine Festival.
yeah, now you and I, we don't suffer or from any allergies like that, or, we're not really, if anything, you and I, when it comes to food, we like it.
Yeah, yeah, we're pretty indiscriminate people.
And you and I both enjoy, we might say, did you get the vegan dish? You and I actually enjoy vegan dishes.
Yes.
Um, so I do like that they have that. I think that it's good to be for all people. Okay, so what is your number four? Well, okay, obviously when you went to Epcot, you went the wrong way and went to the left. So
Well, we also the next booth we stopped at was the Africa booth, which is right around the, I guess, trading post area that's between China and Germany, I think. So that was our second stop, and there we picked up the Peri Peri skewered shrimp served with citrus scented couscous.
ooh,
And this is definitely worthy of that number four mark. It was, and I would say this one was, again, I think another 5 star on the quality. I would actually give it a 4 star on the quantity, all
ooh, very
things
nice.
considered. It was definitely worth it. If it's there at a future Food and Wine Festival, I would not hesitate to get it again.
Yeah.
It was perfectly done.
Now, peri peri is a very African originated flavor, so it's kind of on the spicier side if you're like that. But Disney doesn't really do. They'll offer spicy offerings, but they're not like your
They're
face
not over,
hurts.
yeah, they're not overpowering. So yeah, there was just a tiny, tiny bit of kick here. Not much. Not much of a kick of spice. It was just enough to complement the flavor of the dish.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everyone's different when it comes to their heat things. Like if you're
Yeah.
like my wife, she's like, I think I noticed a little bit of spice. And meanwhile, Justin and I are like, please, more milk, please.
Yes, this is accurate.
um, and you and I aren't wimps when it comes to heat, really.
Yeah.
So, so if it's just the tongue tingler, I suppose, is what you were experiencing with the peri peri chicken.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, actually, I think upon further consideration, no, I think I'll keep that at number 4 spot. Yeah, I'll keep that at number 4 spot. All right. Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm just kind of making my way around here. All right. We did stop at a few other booths. I will say I did notice that the booths, once you get to Italy, United States, Morocco, maybe even Japan, but definitely Italy, US, and Morocco, there was a vast difference in portion sizes. And so it seemed like if you got around to that far end of World Showcase, you're not munching on appetizers anymore. You're more munching on small lunch entrees at this point. So we did kind of notice that when we were making our rounds.
America.
Yeah, I don't. We didn't get anything there because, well, we are adventurous people and we like to try things of other cultures. So
Well,
we
I
kind of,
mean, if you want to get a good piece of barbecue, America usually has barbecue options.
yeah,
And the last few years, they had a smoker on property for it, which was kind of cool.
yeah, they do. Well, actually, right now they actually opened up a new quick service location at the America Pavilion called the Smokehouse. So there's always a smoker there now.
Ooh, isn't it Sam Eagle Smokehouse?
Let me double check here. He might, yeah, he is on there. It's actually called the Regal Eagle Smokehouse.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Ooh,
it definitely looks intriguing, and I might actually have to make a stop there upon my next trip to Epcot. It looked quite good.
there are two big barbecue places there now. That and the Polite Pig. I've been wanting to do that one too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
At
so
the at
you
the
went
America
from
Pavilion, they were at the America Pavilion. We didn't try any of this, but they were on with the seafood there. So your two top-notch options there were the New England lobster roll and the Southern seafood boil. And the Southern seafood boil is basically it's a variation of low country boil, if you know what that is.
ooh,
So yeah, shrimp, mussels, crawfish, potatoes, corn, and andouille sausage in the Southern seafood boil. So both of those actually looked really, really good, and I was tempted, but we kept moving because quite honestly, living in Maryland and you living in Florida, it's not like we're hurting for seafood.
yeah, no, there's some good stuff. And again, our as Justin and my tradition is, though I think we didn't get a chance to doing it this time. We usually try to eat seafood together.
Yeah.
But okay, so we did number 5. What was number
We,
4
well,
was the
well,
peri
we
peri chicken.
four was yep, and five was the ribeye taco. All right, now we're going to go to number three, and this one is actually in the building known as the World Showplace, which I believe is between the United Kingdom and Canada. And they had that open with, I think, three or four different booths inside of it. And that was really nice because you get to go inside in the air conditioning.
Ooh.
It seemed a whole lot of people didn't notice that it was there and just kept on going. You always know when people are missing something great when the cast members standing outside is like, you should really turn in here and check this out. Because people just kept walking by. But we didn't walk by. We walked in and we found our number three, well, in my opinion, our number three and our number one dish in this place. So I'll be coming back here, but the number three was they have a booth called the Appleseed Orchard,
Nice.
and we got there a what is called a frozen apple pie. It is a non-alcoholic slushy drink, sort of a drink. It's really just a slushy, but it's an apple flavored slushy. It's got apple chunks in it, and they put that crumbly stuff over the top. And Oh my goodness, it hit the spot. It was great. So
When you were telling me about that one, I wanted to. That's the one I want to go to because Apple things, and we're not quite in fall yet, but I'm kind of looking forward to Apple stuff. I don't want
yeah,
to, I don't want to wish away summer at this moment, but ooh,
right. Yeah. Another thing they had in there too was there's apparently they've been at previous food and wine festivals, but I never noticed them. A couple of ladies trying to sell a special blend of pure maple syrup, and
ooh,
they had their regular pure maple syrup. They had I think a Kentucky bourbon maple syrup, which they insisted the alcohol was completely cooked off, leaving only the flavor of the Kentucky bourbon. And let me tell you, you could taste it. You could taste the Kentucky bourbon in that stuff.
ooh,
And the other one was, I believe, it was an Applejack flavored Applejack infused pure maple syrup. That was the best. Let me tell you. I am actually considering buying a bottle of that online, but it was delicious.
Now, what was the name of that one again?
It I don't remember the brand of the syrup off the top of my head, but it was pure maple syrup infused with Applejack.
Yuck, yuck, yum. Excuse me.
Yeah, what are you
Yeah,
saying? Get off of
that
this podcast.
sounds like the bomb.com, if you will.
All right, but
Oh man.
moving on to number two. Number two was, well, let's face it, it's mine heritage. It was at the Germany food booth, and it is called, get this, Schinken Nudeln. Schinken Nudeln. And if you've ever been to Summerfest, their walk-up restaurant, you can get something they call noodle gratin. Well, Schinken Nudeln is gratin dialed up a few notches.
Ooh.
So it is pasta gratin with ham, onions, and cheese.
Ooh.
And it's $4.25 worth every penny. Worth every penny. It was delicious. It was absolutely good. I'm so glad we stopped there because I love the noodle gratin that they serve there regularly, and the fact that they put the ham, onions, and cheese into this dish made it that much more the better. Pretty much only tried one thing at the booths that we stopped at, except for the Italy Pavilion where my wife got a chocolate coated cannoli,
Ooh.
and I got a margarita flatbread. And that was what it was. I'm not personally as big on the cannolis as some people are. I know that probably sounds disappointing to you, David, but yeah, it's just my way. So she got the cannoli and I got the margarita flatbread. And the margarita flatbread, it was decent. It was definitely good considering the price tag to portion size. Definitely a good amount of quantity there. Quality, okay. It's kind of like, a cheese pizza.
We're in that might be an honorable mention for your buck. How's that one?
Yeah. But the number one dish in all of Epcot's Food and Wine Festival, we're going back to that World Showplace Pavilion where they had four booths there, I think.
Yeah.
One of them hit me right in my breadbasket, and that was the mac and cheese booth. Oh my goodness. Whoever came up with that, they need a raise. They really do. Even if they've already been given a raise, give them another one. I mean, just brilliant. But we got in there and they have different options. You can get the gourmet mac and cheese. And it's served with it's got some garlic in it. It's also served with a kind of a herbed cream cheese dollop, and this cheese sauce that's really out of this world. And they have a couple of variations on that. You can have buffalo chicken macaroni and cheese, so it's the same thing but with buffalo chicken added.
Okay.
And you can get lobster macaroni and cheese. And then you can also get the vegan macaroni and cheese, which has a plant-based Italian sausage and peppers with it. Which, truth be told, that sounded intriguing to me, but being the person that I am, it's like, well, I could try one of these variations, but when one is sampling a good mac and cheese or something that's touted as a good mac and cheese, you got to become a purist. You just got to try the macaroni and cheese by itself without any add-ons or anything like that. So that's what I did. I just got the gourmet macaroni and cheese. 5 stars on quality, 5 stars on quantity. I was set, and let me tell you, the cream cheese dollop that they added onto that, was it cream cheese? No, sour cream or sour cream cheese. It was one of those, but it was something of that flavor and consistency. Mix that in with a bite of that gourmet macaroni and cheese with that cheese sauce. I don't know what they did to that cheese sauce, but I want to find out. Because it was spectacular. This is like this macaroni and cheese was Disney's signature restaurant level macaroni and cheese.
Ooh.
Without question. It was so great, and I'm gonna have to stop talking about it because I'm just gonna be upset that I don't have any in front of me.
Yeah, I'm looking up the Food and Wine mac and cheese booth as we speak. Yeah, I actually totally agree with you. If you can't do good with the basic standard, that's where you always get to find, like, okay, they're saying this is all about this. How is the regular standard macaroni and cheese by itself?
Yeah. Now, one more honorable mention here. And that is the France booth. You can get canard confit à l'orange. In other words, braised duck confit à l'orange with mashed sweet potatoes.
Ooh.
All right. And I'm not too big on sweet potatoes. I didn't really care. I was like, I just want to have the duck. But anyway, I had it all. I didn't tell them to leave out the sweet potatoes or anything like that. All in all, not the most appetizing to look at. All right, it kind of looks like a little bit of a mess in a paper dish, but let me tell you, nobody cooks duck like the French. It was a really good, flavorful duck à l'orange, and yeah, the sweet potatoes complemented it well.
That really speaks to the ability of those chefs and those food pairers at Disney, though. You know that?
Yeah.
That's pretty great. What would be the one thing that you would say to somebody going to the Food and Wine Festival in a normal time that you would recommend to them now, having experienced it with some family members in the middle of the summer?
I would say let's be honest. You're not going to be able to try everything and walk out of the park. Somebody will have to cart you out of the park if you tried everything.
Roll you out of the park, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely do your research. Pull up the menu of the booths. Try to get a feel for which booths you think would probably be most appealing to you from the get-go. And that way you can just make one round around the World Showcase where the vast majority of the booths are located, and make sure that you know which ones are safe to skip and which ones you definitely have to prioritize. I'd say that's a wise move.
Yeah. May I add to Justin's to put a little icing on it? Some of the best ones aren't necessarily right at the front.
No.
You might just need to walk to Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. I was disappointed though because when you and I were there, they had those excellent wasabi dumplings.
Oh
Not
yeah.
this time. I was disappointed. I was looking forward to getting to Japan, and when I got there, what I saw was not. I was not enthusiastic about. I'm sorry to say, but
Not everything's gonna tickle everybody.
yeah, yep. Of course, Canada was still serving up their cheese soup with pretzel roll over at their booth, which is basically a very small sampling of what you would get if you got a bowl of it in Le Cellier Steakhouse, their signature restaurant there.
See, when I think of pretzel rolls, I don't generally think of Canada. I think actually of Pennsylvania, but
Pennsylvania, maybe Germany or something like that. Yeah.
Canada, it's like Tim Hortons and maple syrup. Though I'll say this. There we go. I'm going to make a whole lot of people happy or upset with this one. American maple syrup is better.
Well, I assume then you've had experience on both sides of the border because I haven't.
Yes, I have. Canadian maple syrup is good if you don't have American, and I'm really picky. I like being where I'm from. I really like New York made maple syrup. So that's
I'm gonna upset some people probably, and then make some people very very happy. Fortunately, the people I'm gonna make happy are most of my friends. When I say that Pennsylvania maple syrup greater than Vermont maple syrup.
Oh, I definitely love PA maple syrup.
Yeah.
I knew a lady who had a tap in one of her trees on her property, and she would like make it for us and give us it in mason jars. That let me tell you, that was good stuff.
Well, so look how easily we digress into things not Disney.
Hey, it's okay because actually we are going to wrap it up.
All right.
And
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this podcast. We normally would end with a more fun ending segment, but since we spent so much time on this one, we're just going to hard cut it right here. So thank you for joining us. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you real soon.
take care.